Hey there, happy Friday! Thanks for joining me here tonight. We are going to do a few different things tonight. We are first going to start off by oiling my sewing machine here. We're going to get it all prepped for the month, basically. I think we're going to try and start making it a habit to at least give it an oil and a new needle every month. So we're going to do that first. I was able to get some bobbins wound last night, so that's great because we ran out of bobbin with just this much more, like 2 inches here to stitch. So I want to finish this. This is one of the blocks that we're making from all of the scrap pieces, my leaders and enders. So that's what these guys are. We will spend some time cutting these a little bit tonight, but our main thing after working on the sewing machine is going to be going into my bucket of scraps here, and I'm going to be improv piecing some of that together using up those itty bitty bitty scraps to just turn it into larger fabric. One of my favorite things to do here. So thanks for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter, and I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So I'm happy you guys are here again. Let's start off with the machine. I have my little instructions for how to oil it. I have only ever oiled this one other time, and that was a little crazy if I remember. I couldn't figure out how to put this one thing back together, so we'll see if I can manage to remember this time. Otherwise, this might take a lot longer to figure it out, but I think we'll figure it out. So, all right, you guys, thanks again. Let's get going. All right, thank you guys for joining me. Oh, yep, Colleen says I see full bobbins. So let's start there. So I wound some bobbins last night. I put one in here, and oh geez, now I can't just get it out. So I did not wind it on this machine. So this machine does have a bobbin winder. It's right here. But now you guys can maybe see a little bit better. Right here is the motor pulley. And this is what this small little wheel is connected to the motor. So right here's the motor. I'm going to unplug that actually right now. Yank this out. There we go. Plug in the back. But this is connected. The motor is connected to the motor pulley, which is just a little wheel. So that's what's actually spinning. So this will just spin round and round, and this smaller wheel makes this larger wheel move. And it's this wheel that's part of the machine that makes the needle go up and down. So this also makes the bobbin go. So the bobbin is down here. I flip this up. Now it's also attached to this wheel. So now we have 3 wheels moving, and then the bobbin attaches right there. So the bobbin would go right on here and wind that. So I got 3 wheels moving at that point. The problem in the past has been that, it takes a lot of spinning to wind up this bobbin, right? So it's kind of been polishing this wheel smooth, and then it doesn't turn this wheel anymore. It just slides, so I can't sew basically. Or it'll spin a little bit and then it'll catch the wheel. So it's been kind of a problem. So I tried winding this on my other machine, but this has a smaller bobbin, so it didn't really fit. So I had to pop the other bobbin winder. Sometimes you have to push in on it before the bobbin will actually start, the little tab at the top. So I had to kind of set it on top of there and hold it down. It wound on like a little weird, but the other 2, I did find some other bobbins here, and the other 2 wound a little bit better, so more evenly. So I do have 2 on reserve now that I did wind. I managed to like Frankenstein the other machine to make it wind. This one, again, is kind of angled, so I'm going to try to use this one up first. But did manage to get some bobbins without polishing this to smooth. So, all right, let's start by just taking everything off of the machine. Well, I'll start by unplugging it, so I did that. Don't need any of these guys on. I don't need this on. And I think let's actually take the needle off right away too. I'll just stay here and do that. Okay, so we've used this needle for a while. You should change your needles, I guess pretty often, every 8 hours or so, really. I've been not doing it that much. I should do it more. I'm trying to shoot for now doing this every month. So in here is a jar of all kind of dead needles. I'm just plopping it in there just so they have a place to live. All right, so I'm going to wonder if I should set this on the towel right away. I think I'm going to. So I have a towel here just because, I am going to be dealing with oil, and I don't want to get it all over the table here. So let's go like this. I have some sewing machine oil. I have put this just in a little dropper that I had. The sewing machine oil, the bottle that I had broke, so I just put it in here. So I'm just kind of eye dropping into the different holes. So now on this particular machine, all I really have to do is all these holes, I just drop a little bit of oil in, and up here and stuff. So basically almost anywhere you see a hole, we will drop some oil, and that's all there is to it. It will work its way through the machine. So we'll do some points at the top. I think there's a few points here, and then we'll rotate it and look at it underneath and see what we can see down there as well. I do have a printout of the instructions from some old instruction book. I had to get it online. So it does, the photocopy is horrible, but it does show sort of the points where I should be dropping a little bit of oil. So I'm going to use this as my guide, and we'll see what we can do. So let's just start there. Let's just start over here, and I'll work my way down. And we will wipe out the bottom as well. Let me get a screwdriver. We may need that too. I might want to take off the plate here. All right. Let's get a little bit of this oil. So you don't want a ton. So I think we just put a little drop in here. I don't want to get oil everywhere either. All right, oil in both of these. Just like a drop. Okay. Oil. So some machines aren't as straightforward as this. This is literally like, you see a hole, put some oil. Okay. That's that. You can always rotate this a little bit, and that'll move all the parts on the inside. Let's scooch down a little bit. So there's a point somewhere here. Oh, I see it. So there's a hole. I don't know if you guys can tell. Let's go over a little bit more. So right about there, there's a little hole as well. Okay, I think we got that good enough. All right, next up, a little bit on the bobbin here, it looks like, and we're basically, that's like, there's like one more, and that's all there is to it for the top part here. Ooh, that's a little one. That one might have been a little much. Let's just dab it up. Okay. And somewhere here, this one was a little bit more confusing. It's kind of hard to tell where to go, but basically anywhere there's a moving metal part, there should be some oil. So I'm kind of seeing like a little area that I could plop some in there. Oh, yep, Lenore, I was able to wind some bobbins, and I did it with the other machine. However, the other machine wasn't really built for it, so I sort of had to adapt a little bit. I'm going to use this little scrap. Oh, so you guys may have seen this. I have this laying around. What this actually is, it's just a scrap I fold up. the motor actually moves back and forth. So if I push it out like this and I just stick a little piece of fabric there, then my wheel won't be touching this wheel. The motor pulley won't be touching this wheel. And I try and remember to do this, like just leave it open like this, so it's not touching when I'm not using the machine. Because if this wheel stays pushed up against this wheel too long, it'll get a dent in, like it'll get a little flat spot, and then it's like a flat tire. It's like flip, 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 flip every time it goes around and hits this, and that makes my stitching not very smooth, because this is like just like a flat tire. So I just keep this fabric here, this little scrap, to make it so I have a space there, so this isn't getting a flat point. All right, I think we are sort of ready to flip it around. I think, why don't we unscrew this first and clean it out, and then we will lay it on its back and look at the bottom. So here's the bottom. It's a crazy illustration. It's hard to tell what's going on, but again, if I see a little hole or it's definitely metal on metal, I will put a little dab of oil. Okay, let's unscrew this little part here though, because I think that's going to be really, really dirty in there from the bobbin and everything. So let's take a look at that. Got my, oh, this is a big screwdriver. Let's get the little baby screwdriver. So this big screwdriver sometimes works a lot better than the small one, but I do like having the small one too. This came with that 70s Kenmore, or that 70s, yeah, Kenmore machine. Sometimes it's just a little easier to use. Okay, that's one. Don't lose the screws. All right, let's peek under here. Oh, gross. Okay, yeah, it needs it. And that is what this is for. Actually, let me go grab a paper towel. I think we're going to want one of those here. All right, I think I'm going to just use a paper towel to kind of gather this. Look at it all. All of this fluff, you know, it's looking, it's looking kind of green. This may have come from that flannel that we were sewing last night, but I'm thinking this is probably from a long time. So let's just get in there and try and snag some of this. I also, if I really want to get in there too, I do have a pipe cleaner, and this is sometimes nice to get into little spots. Can grab the fuzzles pretty well. And I think once we flip this around, we'll be able to see a lot from the bottom as well. But it's always kind of good to undo that plate right there that we unscrewed and check it out. Okay, I think that's good. Just that makes me feel good getting that out of the way. All right, so let's try flipping it. So if this was in the machine, or in the base, the like wood table base, it has hinges that you can just flip it up, but I'm going to try to flip it on its back here, and then we'll just take a peek underneath again. So, oh, it's so heavy though, you guys. All right. Definitely make sure it's unplugged when you're doing all of this. All right, so it might be a little dark back here, but I think we'll be able to see a little bit. Okay, let me just, yeah, let's take a look at this. All right, here we are at the bottom. So again, you can see all these little holes all over. That's what we're kind of looking for. And if I see any fuzz up through here, oh, here's that lever underneath here that will pop out the whole shuttle here. I gotta remember how this goes in though. Okay. There we go. So this we can put a little bit of oil on as well. This part here. There we go. So there's the bobbin area. I gotta remember though that this is where we got all messed up. So the top goes there. I think I just let it sit there. Well, this is where we ran into trouble last time, so hopefully it'll go well this time. I'm gonna just lift it down right where it should kind of go. So, all right. That's that. Let's oil it. So again, I'm gonna look at my guide here. All right, this definitely looks like an oil hole. Oil. Let's see. Okay, up here too. So I'm just taking a look at this again. So eventually I'll be able to do this without these guides. It's just for these first couple ones. Okay, there's an area right there and there, but it just looks like nothing. It just looks like where maybe these screw in. So I don't know. Fine. Those want a little oil. We'll give it. Just put a little dab there and a little dab there. Ooh, that's kind of a lot. All right, and oil in that little guy. We got oil right in there. So now that spins around. See, like that. So that's a metal against metal thing. We definitely want to oil there. There's another hole. Put a dab in. Hole. So now those might face upward a little bit. There we go. That hole's upward now. Dab, and then right there too. And I think that's it. Oh, and then we'll get this little screw thing here too. I think that's just for the screws to have a little oil on. This whole thing, this whole bar looks like I can unscrew it. There's a screw here, there, and there. So I guess that oil is just a little bit for that. That's not really part of the machine turning and running though, but all of this little bit is. So that's that. I do want to try to put this on. So I think typically you get a little bit of oil. This gets a little bit of oil right in there, and I think that's basically it. All right, let's attempt to put this back in. I gotta turn the wheel back up like that. I think this just kind of sits in there. I think I need to wipe it out a hair. But not too much. I think we got it most from the top. Oh, there. Good. That just went right in. Now this is where we got all messed up last time. Ha! Did it. Okay. That was about 30 minutes faster than last time. It has this little, like, let me see if I can show you guys a little bit lower. There we go. So we're a little crooked here, but this has a little latch that pops this whole thing out, and I got to get this just right so it fits back in there. But there we go. So that's this is a neat little device area for me there. We're done with that. That wasn't too bad at all. All right, let's flip this back up. Not too bad at all. So, like I said, this is I think just my second time oiling this machine since I got it, which is crazy. I should be doing it a whole lot more. But we are starting to do it more. All right. I just want to let's get the top back in here, the plate, and we're done. There we go. Oh, we got to get a needle in yet. But then that's it, you guys. Good. We can get sewing. So we're gonna start with. We'll start with that piece that we didn't finish last night, and then we'll move on to improv piecing, and we'll cut some of those squares a little bit later tonight. So, all right. Just checking out your comments. I have been completely just paying attention to the machine here. Oh, Sharon on Facebook is asking, can I get a replacement for that little tiny wheel if you need one? Yes, so that is the motor pulley. This actually already is a replacement because they do wear down. But I get mine from, oh gosh, I think it's called sewingpartsonline.com. They have a lot of these old vintage sewing machine parts. Sometimes you have to measure the part, and then sometimes you can just put in the model of the machine. All right, let's get a needle. So yes, you can get more of those motor pulleys, and you will actually need those every once in a while. Okay. Oh yeah, Rebecca says, I believe you can. A lot of people use vintage machines. Yep. But yeah, I get mine from Sewing Parts Online. Yeah, and they're called motor pulleys if you're looking specifically for that part. All right, let's see. All right, let's grab a needle out of here. So these are just some, I got these all in one big batch at some point, and they come with this cute little case here. So I just have like a little ball jar that I store just my needles in. Not anything fancy or elaborate, but they are all in one place, so that's nice at least. Okay. So, oh, now I gotta remember which way this goes too. I think it goes, because it's a little different than my other sewing machine where the flat, so the needle has a flat part here and a round part, and on my other vintage sewing machine and most modern sewing machines, the flat part goes towards the back, but this one's a little older, and some of these older ones, they go on the side, and I can never remember what side they go in, but I'm guessing the flat side is over here because this will be pushing up against it, the flat part of this. Let's just assume that if everything lines up, then we're right. Okay, yeah, it's going all the way down into the hole here. We're fine. So the flat part was towards the inside. I think we are done. So that, oh man, I'm just feeling like that took no time at all, you guys. After it taking ages and ages last time because I didn't know what I was doing and I couldn't figure out how to put that one part back together. That was a puzzle. So I'm glad we got it this time. That makes me super duper happy. All right, bobbin's back in. Put the plate back on. We're golden. Why don't we, while we're here, let's kind of put our 1/4 inch back. And why don't we use our measuring tool? So here's our my Perkins Dry Goods Perfect Piecing Seam Guide. You can get that from Perkins Dry Goods. What this is great for is it has a little hole in at the 1/4 inch, that scant 1/4 inch seam allowance that we want for quilting. So I'm going to just put this here and I'm going to slowly bring this down and, ooh, I'm touching it already. I'm going to move it until it goes in the hole. There we are. Now let's get this back down. There, so the needle is in the hole that's punched out of here, and I think, I'm going to try and get this as straight as I can. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave my towel here for the night because sometimes oil drips from the machine a little bit. I mean, that usually means that you've over-oiled it, but maybe just for today, I'll leave that towel down. There, so this is pretty straight, I think. And I'm going to stick my my business card right up there again. This is kind of what I've been putting as my tool, and my seam guide tool, let's plop down our magnet on there. That's how I'm holding it down. And there we go. We have our scant 1/4 inch measured again. Ooh, that's a little bit more than like further in than I thought, but I'm going to use it. Okay, we're good to go again, you guys. Let's scooch this over. Let's thread this guy, and we'll be ready to sew. Let's clean up and sew. Ugh, I'm excited. This is going to be fun tonight. So, all right, let's start by finishing this. Let's clean up so we don't have all this stuff anymore. I do have to thread still. Okay. That was not painful at all. And I feel so good that I'm doing that with my own machine. I'm trying to oil and clean my own machine. I was always too scared to do that, but once I just took a stab at it and learned a little bit more and was able to do that, watch some videos, it really is rewarding and nice to be able to do it myself here. All right. Don't need these guys. Put that back on the shelf. My little guy there. All right. So I'm going to get the iron going. We're going to need that soon. Let's thread the machine and get going here. Oh, we'll have to plug back in. Getting ahead of myself. Just want to get going. Oh, I can tell, like that just went up and down really, really smoothly. I think this is going to make a big difference. Oh, it's just going to be nice. All right, here's always the trick, like threading this. All right, we got it. So let's just go, I think this machine you go forward to bring up the bobbin. There we go. Then we gotta just catch it from underneath. Oh, gotta go a little bit more. There we go. It'll pull up that thread from underneath, and there, now the bobbin thread is up. We should be good to go, except for plugging it in. Let's see if I can do that without looking. Okay, that feels good. Let's remove our little piece of fabric that I have in the back there. And, uh-oh, not turning on, so I don't have it plugged all the way in yet. Ugh, I'm gonna have to peek around back. Oh, yeah, I missed a prong. There we go. 3 prongs on the back of this one. Okay, yay! All right, let's give it a test. I'm just gonna start up here. Get our stitches the right length. Go a little backwards. Ooh, it's so quiet, you guys. Ah, that's always neat. All right, that's all we had left on here. Sheesh. Oh, and I need a leader and an ender, so let's grab one of those out of our basket here. Happy that we got all these cut. What size needle do I use? I don't know offhand. I think it's just like a universal, like an 80. Like, how do the sizes for machine needles go again? It's like an 80-10 or something. I think that's what this is. If you go higher, then it'll be a smaller needle. So like a 90 is a smaller needle. And if you go bigger, like a 70, then it's a fatter, bigger needle. So the numbers go in the opposite direction, which is kind of funny. Yeah, it's so quiet. I mean, it's crazy quiet, isn't it? It's kind of amazing. All right. It's crazy, crazy town quiet. I'm so happy with it. But all right, we got this done. Let's give it a press. And we'll be done with this. And then I can move on to that giant bin. I think let's hit it from the back first. I think I typically use like an size 80 universal needle. Is it 80-20 or is it 80-10? I can't ever remember. Oh, 1280. Oh, okay. 1280 is a top stitch needle. I'm going to have to look because now I don't know. I haven't thought about machine needles in so long, you guys, because we've just been stitching just the same old like quilting weight fabric. But yeah, like if you're stitching onto something else, like jean fabric, you're going to want to use a heftier needle that can pierce through those jeans easier. And the needles really depend on the size of your thread and the type of fabric you're using. So if you want to use like a bigger size thread, so like a 12 weight thread is a bigger thread versus the 50 weight, what we're using, 12 weight is much fatter. And that, if you have too small of a needle, it is going to rub the eye of that needle until it's completely frayed. So that's not going to work. And then if your needle is just too small, too thin and small, it's going to break when you stitch through big seams or jeans or something like that. So you have to consider a heftier needle for that. However, if you're using a really, really delicate fabric, you're not going to want to use a big hefty needle because it's going to punch giant holes in the fabric. So for that, you'll want a more delicate needle. So you got to be thinking, what's your fabric? How delicate do you need to be? Is the fabric going to break a needle? And choose the needle based on that. And then also, how fat of the thread. I think that's basically the deal that you want to be thinking about as far as needles. All right, you guys, we have number 10 here. Let's trim away these threads. There we are. Awesome. So, all right. So that is kind of that for now for these guys. And actually, I think I sewed this one way better than this last one. So I think this one probably actually is 10.5 inches. Oh man, it's going to be a challenge when we sew all these together. I'm going to have to like stretch some and some are fine. Ugh. Maybe when I'm done, I'll just have to press them all again. Because technically these should all be ending up to be 10.5 inches. Because I don't think I cut these to 2 inches. That doesn't sound like something I did. No, these are all... Oh, they are kind of 2 inches though, but then 1/4 inch. So I must have been just sewing giant seam allowances on these. Because I would not have been... Ugh, this ruler is kind of goofy. Where's the 2 inch mark? 1, 2... No, this is the half and 1, 2. Oh, the 2 inches in the middle. Weird. Okay. So yeah, I am losing... Well, the 1/4 inch that's sewn in. So this looks fine. I don't know. This should all be... I think it just needs to be squished when I press it again, and then it'll be the 10.5 inches. Because we were sewing 2.5 inch squares, so these should all be 10.5. But I've been kind of lax, like I said, going through these. But all right, we can add another one to the pile. I think it turned out great. So we do have all of these guys to trim, like oodles and oodles of them. I would like to do some trimming on that, but I think first tonight I would like to work on some improv piecing. So I have my big bin here, and we got this bin, I got this from, I think we had a friend that's moving. I think it's for charcoal, like hot coals. Is that what it looks like to you guys? I think it's like hot coals. All right, and I've just been, so here's the rest of that shirt. I just threw like the little pieces in here, but this is just a whole pile of little pieces from random projects. I don't know what's going on in here, but I have been sewing them together, into larger and larger pieces. So, I mean, here's a bunch of random pieces just together. You know, here's got a lot of, you know, look how small that piece is. So I am just sewing small pieces together. Look at all this. I mean, this is hideous as far as color choices go, but that's okay. I am not worrying about that at all. I am literally sewing one piece of fabric to another. I think this is another piece here. Yeah. Ooh, this looks sewn together too. Oh, there's a little piece started. Let's leave that one out. Maybe we can add to him. This one too. Another little chunk of something. Here we go too. Oh my god, this is so small right there. These little slivers. And then I think this piece is my other piece that looks like I have something done with it. So we'll leave all these out. But what I'm going to do is just pick some pieces out of here. So now these all look very similar, so I could probably just sew those together. Let's throw these out here. I'm going to leave this next to me, and we are going to just kind of, I mean, I could actually just kind of grab a handful. Why don't we do that? I'm going to just grab a little bit out of here. Oh, look at this big, nice piece. We'll set that aside. So here's some pieces. Our goal is to, you know, make a larger piece of fabric, and then eventually this will be quilt size, right? So the way that we do that is you take two pieces. So let's just start fresh. All right, so here's a piece. Ooh, that's pretty. There's a piece, and let's just pick any other piece. Let's pick this piece. All right, here's another piece. So the problem is this piece is shorter than this piece, right? So I need to make this piece bigger before I can sew it to this piece. So I gotta find another piece to sew onto this. So that's the whole game. Find another piece to sew onto that, so that the pieces equal each other, and then it's big enough. So here, this one's wide enough, so that's good. This one might be good enough. So let's sew this piece to this piece, with the goal of that hopefully it attaches to this piece here. So all right, let's just sew that together. And now, instead of just continuing to put like more and more leaders on here, I'm going to actually search for a whole nother grouping that we can play with. So let's find our next one. So this one will go with the one that we're working on now. Let's pick another piece. Maybe we can pick one of these ones that we've already got going on here. So let's do this. There's a long piece here. Look, this has a person on there. What the heck? Where did some of this fabric come from? All right, so this is almost the same length. It just needs like a tiny little bit on this one. So I bet you we can find a sliver of a piece of fabric somewhere. I mean, this is little. We could just kind of trim off the edge here. Maybe we can find another small little pieces stuck in here. Here's some more little pieces. That's a little too small. I think let's just put this on, and you can always snip it down. So let's just kind of equalize that out. Boop. And here's going to be our next piece. We're going to sew these together. So let's first sew this to this. This is so relaxing, you guys, just because you don't really have to have anything look good or really worry about it too much. And you're just finding a piece that you can put on another piece. So I am going to press as I go. I know I've kind of made my space a lot smaller by throwing all my fabric up here, but it's going to work fine. And I might as well just press this piece because it's crazy. There we go. Let's press this one too. All right, good enough. Okay, so did we make it? Is this piece big enough now? I think it's looking close enough, and these are actually really pretty together, all these three. So, all right, let's sew this to here. We're literally just trying to make one piece big enough to sew to another piece, and that's the game. And by doing that, our pieces just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then every once in a while, you'll be like, oh, this big section that I've been working on fits to this big section that I'm working on. And then it grows even more. All right, let's take that other piece off. So I do like working with these itty bitty bitty tiny pieces, but you can actually do this with large pieces too. I did this for the back of my Splendid Sampler quilt, my first one, and we just did it for the Isle of Home, the back of that quilt, and those I was working with like large pieces, like some were all the way up to like fat quarters. All right, I think that looks pretty good. We can go in the other direction too if we want. I think it actually fits better. It matches up better on this side. I think we originally had it up here, but who cares? Let's plop those together. Ugh, but I love just seeing these chunks of fabric come together. And I'm not worrying about my seam allowance. I'm not worrying about anything really. And even if it gets a little bloopy or puckered or something, we can just cut right through it and add it to another piece if we want. It's just totally free form. I love it. Oh, Shirley says I love doing this. It is surprisingly relaxing. It really, really is. Oh, that's cute. Shirley says, my hubby came through and saw your blocks you were holding. He asked if you call it a miscellaneous quilt. Okay, I love that. It is very much a miscellaneous quilt for sure. All right, so I'm just taking a glance at this, and it almost looks like it's big enough to go onto here. Maybe here. This is kind of like a weird edge here. I'm just going to snip it. You can use a rotary cutter, but my scissors is right here, so I thought I'd just use that. There, let's put these two together. That's pretty. I'm not even worried if it's pretty. I'm just worried if they fit together. It's just relaxing not to have to follow any sort of guide or anything. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about this, but for some reason this type of sewing, this improv piecing with these little scraps, it almost feels as good to me as, well, not as good, that's the wrong way of saying it, but it has that same like relaxing feeling that like just knitting a scarf does, or crocheting, or something where you don't have to think hardly at all, but it captures your brain enough so you keep paying attention to it. That's just super enjoyable. Okay, I'm going to give this a press. This is a piece of crazy here. Let's press it on backwards like this. So a lot going on with this. So let's see if we can attach this to something tonight yet. Ooh, this is all Cricut and stuff too. What a weird piece. We could actually try and angle it, but we could just kind of chop it off. Oh, actually, look. I think it wants to be straight. I think it's just not pressed very well. There we go. That's looking better. So we can deal with that a little bit more. All right, well, these are hanging out here. Let's see what else we got going on. If you're not feeling something, you just grab another piece of fabric and see what that one does. I mean, this might be big enough to, oh, nope, it's little. All right, there's a piece. Maybe one of these is the same length. This looks like it's from the same project almost. Oh no, but we could, oh, well, it kind of goes on the end. Should we just do that? I think let's just do that. Quick decisions. right, so here's that piece that we had earlier. Oh, this is looking like almost as big as this piece. Maybe we can connect those. Oh, dang, that's looking great. Let's just do that. Plop these together. This is a little crooked, so I'm going to just... I could trim it beforehand, but I think I'm just going to try and hold it straight while I sew. Yay, it's a bigger piece. It's growing. You guys, we voted today, so I'm really excited about that. We did, we do have early voting here, but it's not till like a week before, at least in our town. But we have absentee voting, and we got our absentee ballots in the mail. But we have something called absentee in person. So we can actually bring our absentee ballot into, let's just put another one of these on. That might make it a good length. But we can actually bring our absentee ballots into the municipal center, and they just tell us to take it out of the... We keep it in our little, that second envelope that you have to keep your ballot in. It stays in there, but it gets put in a drop box that someone sees you put it in, and right there. So it's still kind of absentee because it's in the envelope still, and it's going to get opened later. But you actually at least know that it's at the place, and I didn't want anyone saying that the mail didn't bring mine to wherever. So we did it that way, and it worked awesome. It was great. So if you have that option, like if you still want to go in person somewhere, but you have that absentee but in person option, it was super duper swell, easy peasy, and we got it done. Okay, we got some other pieces here. Actually, this is popping out at me over here. We might fit right onto this piece. Ooh, okay, we can make a larger piece, I think. All right, let's press this. This is always fun when you can sew two pieces together. So this is a pile of crazy, right? Like these colors are crazy town. Like these fabrics look wacky together. However, I think this might, once I get this like quilt size at some point, I think this might be the quilt that I over dye. So it might be the quilt that I decide to dye like an indigo color, or I bleach dye it, or some sort of dyeing method, because I think it'll just like tone all the colors at once. So I think you'll still be able to see the pattern and a little bit of the color yet, but it'll all feel like more of the same, and I think it might actually look good then. Versus, I mean, these are just a pile of garish fabrics all together. So I think that's my plan. So yes, it looks crazy right now with these colors, but I think it might be really cute once it's all dyed, and it'll all be like scrap fabric that was just going to be trash. I mean, all these tiny pieces, this is normally garbage, right? All right, we are not quite long enough for this. I might just see if I can add a sliver of something on the end here. Okay, now this is a piece that's all over the place. I bet you we can snip. Oh gosh, no, it doesn't even work, does it? Ooh, what about this? It's a little too big. I need like a little sliver of something. And I'm being a bit picky now, which is dumb. All right, let's use this. This is really little. I can just cut a piece to what I need, and I think will be long enough. There we go. It's full of fuzzles, but oh well. Let's just attach it to the bottom here. So I didn't want to cut some of those other squares yet tonight, but I'm kind of having fun doing this improv piecing. This is always just really fun for me. And it's definitely nice having the ironing mat and my iron right next to the sewing machine while I do this. And I am just using the scissors. You can have a rotary cutter nearby to do this too. But yeah, all of it right next to each other so you don't have to walk all around is great. But look, this piece is bigger! I mean, you know, that's looking cool. Here, I'll show you once I set on the iron. I mean, some of these are pieces that we sewed tonight, and now we have like this bigger like shenanigans going on here. Let's see, is it big enough to put on something like this yet? Ugh, this piece is crazy. I don't know how this got all weird and angular, but it's kind of fun. I don't know. We're gonna let that piece be for a little while. All right, let's just set this aside again. I guess we're gonna have to wait till we have something else large enough to attach to this. Let's start at these itty bitty pieces again. Does this look like? There are some pretty fabrics. Not quite sure where they came from, but it looks like it must have been used for the same project. A lot of them are similar size, so let's just sew those together. We'll press them after. Oh, Christy says, I really like the garish colors. I think it's gonna be kind of a spectacle maybe when they're all sewn together, so we'll have to see. Maybe I'll really like how crazy they all are when I'm done. I mean, I do actually like them now, but I think it would be kind of fun. I like the idea of bringing them all together somehow by dyeing. I think that's just something I haven't done before. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, I'm kind of curious what it's all going to look like. So I just added barely like a 1/4 inch here, just a tiny, tiny sliver, because that's really all I needed to get it to be as long as this one, right? Oh yeah, there, now we got it. See, I literally just added, all I needed was a tiny, tiny sliver. Let's see what side we'd like it better on. But actually kind of, you know, the size is weird, like this length isn't quite as big as this length. So we'll sew it to the side that's big enough. Doesn't all have to be perfect and even. Christy says it'll go with everything, with all the colors. That's funny. Yep, that's a way of looking at it for sure. Ugh. But I'm telling you, if you haven't done this before, I completely recommend doing it because it is a world of relaxing for sure. I love doing this. I could spend days doing this. I would actually love to spend enough days to empty this thing. I bet you anything though, this bin right here would be the size of a quilt. I swear. It's never ending, this bin, and I keep adding to it, which is dumb maybe, but I'm telling you, I bet you there's a whole quilt worth of fabric in there. I would love to just spend a day doing this. Maybe we will do that sometime. I think, yeah, you know, Sylvia, I think maybe we will work on those blocks for a little bit. Let's sew a couple more pieces together here. And yeah, I want to cut some of those blocks too because I am going to need those for more leaders and enders. So I think I'll do that too. So why don't we sew our last few here. Actually, why don't we have that just be our last one. Let's get our other leader on here. I do want to do that. Let's get even more done feeling tonight. All right, let's snip those. We'll press these. All of the scrappy fixes we're getting in tonight. I like it. I'm not worried about what direction I'm pressing these. I'm just doing it. That's a pretty piece, all these colors, kind of colors together. Very fall. Ooh, and I forgot we put all of these guys together. Ooh, there's so much fabric in here. All these little pieces. All right. There we go. So we used up some of this, and our pieces are growing. So let me show you all the pieces that I have again here. So this one's, I think, completely... Oh, I guess this was already sewn, but this is a bigger piece. We have this piece here. That almost could go together. Well, we'll just leave it for now. Actually, you know what? Let's sew that together. That's kind of a nice square almost, and then we'll be done. Then we'll have all these attached. This will be our last one. All right, I got to get a new leader. The machine does sound really good, though. All right. So this is our last piece. There, it's a square, kind of. All right, fun. Okay, so we have this. So this is what I'm just storing in this bin of scraps. So we have this, and then we have this crazy larger piece. I could almost, to make this easier, I could almost cut this to make it square again. And then we could actually it'd probably be big enough to sew this onto then too. But we have that big piece, and then, I don't know, we have this crazy piece. That could almost go diagonal this way, and we'd have our little kind of square thing going. I don't know. That's a project for a later time. I'm gonna just have all these together. I don't have any little small ones anymore. We sew them to a bigger piece. That's always fun. But there we go. That is our little improv bucket. So I think I might just have this sit nearby me too, because you could use these little improv pieces as your leaders and enders as well. So I might just keep this near me, and if I run out of these, then I can use these, just find pieces that equal each other and keep sewing those together from my bin here. So I'm going to keep this near me, and then maybe we'll just decide to spend the rest of an evening improv piecing. So like for like the Splendid Sampler 2, for example, if we get done with a block early in the day or something, or early in the evening here, I mean, we could spend the rest of our time doing some, doing some improv piecing. So I think that'd be kind of fun. Definitely an option we could do. All right. There we are. So this is the mess of stuff we have here. I know it's already 9:30, but I might stay a little while to cut these. So what I'm trying to do is, at this point, trim these smaller. So that's when we're going to use our block lock ruler again. And now these are at the point where once I have 25, I have enough for another one of these guys. Oh, Nolene says, improv is fun, you get the brain cogs turning. Yep. And you guys, I got this sitting here again too. So I think this is the embroidery of the month. It is the Bride of Frankenstein's bouquet. But I think, I like that suggestion from last night. I think I'm going to stitch this on the light colored fabric. The bundle comes with a dark colored fabric like this, but I think I'm going to do a version where you can see what these colors look like on a light color version, and I'll even stitch it. I'll stitch it. Well, I'll stitch the spider and the web last, so you can kind of see what it might look without those. But then I'll have a light version and a dark version for you guys. So that'll be the third week of the month. We'll stitch that together. That's our embroidery of the month bundle. Oh, Marlene says that Jenny Doan spends at least 15 minutes a day doing these. Oh, cool. Yeah, doing these. The little improv piecing. I'm telling you, it has a different feel to it than other quilting. It has this just chill, relaxing feel to it that, I don't know, I haven't felt that, except for every once in a while I'll feel that with like needle turn applique, but I feel like that's more like that little handwork stuff. This is the only time I feel like that super duper like chill, relaxing, meditative thing while I'm actually working on, while I'm sewing, working on a sewing project. So I recommend giving it a try. It's just freeing and fun. And my mom sent me a text today that she's like, you got me going on this too, or whatever. She had done an improv thing today with larger pieces. So she had taken just some larger pieces that she had, from mask making. So she had made a ton of masks and donated them. And they got the fabric donated too and stuff. So she just sewed all of that, the rest of that donated fabric together and made some bigger pieces instead of, I don't know, they were too small, I think, for the masks anymore. So instead of doing that, she sewed them all together, and it's fun. It feels like you're using up stuff that would have been just garbage, and I think that's what's exciting to me. And it gets big enough to make stuff out of. Okay, I gotta say, this is kind of relaxing though too. Just going through this pile. So did any of you guys do early voting? I'm curious how that works in other states. So technically, I still don't think ours goes through the machine or anything till, I don't know, till they decide to do it around election day, or maybe when they get the other absentee ballots. But I at least know that it's in the building where it's supposed to be. And we could go before, like I think there's early voting like a week before it starts, but it's pretty limited hours, and I don't want to risk not getting in at any of those hours, I guess. So it's done, and I feel good about that. Ugh. Look how clean and pretty they are. I'm excited. So they're all going to be ready to get in there. I could be doing this all night though. There's so many of these. Maybe I might just do that. Chill. Maybe I'll throw on some Netflix on the iPad a little later and just trim through these. Because the deal is, we talked about this a little bit last night, but these are my leaders and enders, and you saw me kind of using them already tonight. But these could also be leaders and enders, so I can just throw these in here when I'm done as well, and just sew these together, and just sew them together until they're in groups of 5, because then these are rows of 5. So once I have a bunch of rows of 5, I can just sew a whole ton of these blocks together right away. So I think this will just kind of sit in here as well, and maybe I'll do those first. I'll have those sitting on top, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them on top right now. Let's let's just start stacking them right in here. And when I run out of those, then, I'll switch to the normal leaders. But we're like getting this magic quilt done. I'm digging it. Again, I call this the magic quilt because we're working on it now, but the rest of it's getting sewn while I'm working on other projects, which I think is just kind of cool. Oh yeah, so ours are absentee as well. So yeah, I guess maybe ours don't get counted till the day of either. Oh gosh, Chrissy says we don't have early voting at all. Mississippi makes voting as inconvenient as possible. That just drives me crazy. And I was thinking about that today too, because we were actually intending to vote on Monday. And for those of you who are not in the U.S., we do not have a day off or anything like that to vote. It's just the one day, typically, and in person. But now a lot of places are opening up to that, the absentee, which used to be just like if you can't leave your house, like if you're sick or something like that, or just elderly and can't leave, they're making it more lenient. And a lot of states do only absentee, or a few states, not a lot. But they don't make it easy here to vote in general. I just feel like, and now it's getting a lot easier with the absentee. But I was thinking about it today because we were going to vote on Monday, like bring in our ballots on Monday, and that just didn't work. We were working, and meetings came up and things came up, and then the same thing on you have to get there in a certain time period, and the same thing happened on Tuesday and Thursday when we were going to go. So, and we barely actually made it today, so I'm just thinking, if you gotta, just that one day to do it all just is crazy to me, or I don't know, they don't make it easy. Although this going in with the absentee ballot was extremely easy today, so if you have that option, I'd say go for it. All right. I am kind of putting them all in the same direction so I can just grab them later, and I'm cutting them in the same direction. Look how poor these are. Just non-square, and that's the whole point of why we're doing this now. Oop, block. The logo goes on the light part. I forgot about that. Ugh, jeez. Oh, you still have to go in Mississippi, you still have to go to the courthouse. Oh, but you voted this week. Okay, nice. Okay, so they make it easy. So you have early voting, but, you say for us old folks, does that mean there's like an actual age limit on it, or can anyone go vote early? You just have to go to the courthouse? See, no, that's what we don't have. I'm hearing everywhere that, Minnesota, you have early voting and whatever, but it just, technically we voted early, but we didn't vote, like it's not counted early. This wasn't an early counted vote. It was an absentee vote in person. So maybe in Minneapolis, like we're just right outside the city, so maybe where I'm at, we don't actually have early voting, and maybe other parts of Minnesota do. I don't quite know how that works, because ours wasn't quite labeled as early voting. Anyway, this whole thing is fascinating, I think. And that it's just different in every state, and, God, I don't know. But I'm glad to have it done, and I think we can still track it, even though we did it in person, but I think you can still track to when it's counted. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. But I love voting absentee because, I don't know, I really like having the ballot in front of me, because then I can see everybody, and you can look up, I mean, you can try and do research on like all the judges and all the other, city council people and all that. You can do research and stuff beforehand and really kind of dig into it, and I mean, I know you could look it up beforehand and still do that, but I don't know, it feels different when you can hold the ballot and look up people and compare and all that. Well, that is the question, Noeline. So, as far as we know, yes, he has COVID-19 and he is in the hospital. Last I heard, it was just in case it got worse, but, we don't really know what's going on. So, in theory, the vice president steps in, but only at the point that they decide that switchover is going to happen. I heard, like he's taking all the nuclear codes and stuff in his helicopter to the hospital and stuff. I don't know. It's scary and freaky and wacky and crazy town. So have no idea what's really going on. So, I guess, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Kate, you're absolutely right. You can get that information early. I just like seeing it in my hand. But yes, they don't always make that easy though either, to find all that information. Because each town does it in their own little way, and it depends on how good your town is, your municipal center is with the internet and making websites and all that too. So all that can be a challenge sometimes too, to find information. But I'm happy. Got her done. So I have a friend who goes in person all the time. I do think there is that community aspect to it for sure, but we are also in bizarro times here with COVID and everything, and I don't know, you don't want to add that extra risk to it, but you still want to be able to vote. So it's just, at the end, I guess it's nice to now be able to have options. And every person's different, and every person has different needs, so being able to have options so people can vote, I think, is great. Ugh, all right, there we go. Grabbed onto that. Ooh, this piece is just big enough. Some of these pieces are like a hair small, but it's, this quilt is a whatever quilt. If my pieces aren't perfect, we're still going to make it work. Alright, I think I might do a couple more. We'll do like 2 more, and then I think we'll call it an evening here. I do want to... Ooh, this one... Oh, I thought it wasn't pressed. It's just upside down. I do want to get through the rest of these, but maybe I'll just attack that on my own at some point, but we'll see. I think tonight we'll do this last little bit. Oh, my machine is going to be so happy for next week when we start up the Granny Squares quilt again. It's going to be got that fresh needle. It's going to be all oiled. Very, very happy. And that actually reminds me, I was going to pick up the other sewing machine after we voted today and totally forgot. So, going to have to see if they're open tomorrow. I don't think they're open on the weekends, dang it. Well, my grandma's sewing machine is going to have to wait at the sewing machine hospital one more day. or at least a weekend. Oh, Chrissy says she just looked it up, that early voting doesn't exist in Mississippi. Oh, your supplies, someone was able to do it. Yeah, it might even be different from city to city, though. Township to township, though, is the thing, too. So you got to look, like, specifically where yours is. All right, so we got a bunch here. Yeah, I might watch some, just chill here for a little and maybe do some more of this later, you guys. All right. Oh, so Kelly's asking, have I ever used the triangle square up ruler, or tried trimming the half square triangles while they're still folded? So I do like it. So Kelly, what Kelly is talking about, I have them right here. They're the slotted trimmers, and I'll show you how they work, and I'll tell you kind of why I'm not doing it for this one. I need the other one. There's different sizes. I need the one where it ends up as a 2.5 inch thing. So here's how this works. So you would use these slotted trimmer triangles before you press it. So you would do them when they're at this stage yet. So we haven't pressed it open. It's not a square yet. It is still a triangle. Okay, what I'm going to do is the seam. That seam lines up. Okay, so I'm going to use the 2.5 inch, and then this is the finished size. So, oh wait, are these? Yeah, so finished means once it's sewn into the quilt, it'll end up being 2 inches, but we're cutting it 2.5 inches. So that's the one I need. This dotted line right there, that represents the seam. And then, this gray part is like the seam allowance there. So this dotted line, though, I'm going to line up with the dotted line of my seam here. So let's go right like that. It can go anywhere on there. Like I can shift up and down as long as I can still see the edge. All right. So let's trim that. And this is really great. I do actually love this triangle. So we'll do that way. We're cutting both edges at once. And then you can actually cut the dog ears out at the same time. Ooh, my finger's a little too close to comfort there. But there we go. So that's how that works. You take it out, all those dog ears are gone. So then you have this, which is perfect. And then you press it open. So after you have all these done, then you would press it open and have your super duper duper perfect square. Why I love that is because now we're only making 2 cuts, and then those little notches, but really only 2 cuts versus having to do the 2 cuts, spin it around, and then do the other 2 cuts. So in theory, this goes way faster, and it does. We actually did a time test of this last year. We were comparing the two. This does go way faster. Not way faster, but it does go faster using those clearly perfect slotted trimmers. However, the reason I'm not really using it with this particular project, like literally just this project, is because all of my fabric is so different from each other, especially like when we get to like this Hawaiian fabric. It's so different so that when I'm pressing it, the pressing of it distorts it quite a bit. So like you can just see how stretchy and weird this fabric is. Any little weird thing just changes it. So I like pressing these first because then I can get rid of it can do what it wants to do, and then I can trim it out and then not have to press it or move it at any other point. Because if I would trim it first and then press it, it's still going to be all wobbly and weird and wherever it wants to be. So for that reason alone is why I've been kind of just using the block locks instead, the block lock rulers, just because of the weirdness between this fabric. Now, if I was doing a project like this with all quilting weight fabric and everything was perfect and the same the same type of fabric, I would in a second do the slotted trimmers here. It is fast, it's less cutting, and it just looks perfect when you're done ironing. But because this is weird, that's why I'm pressing first and then using that up. So that's hope that makes sense, Kelly. All right. So thanks again, guys. We got a lot done here tonight. It was really fun to do that improv piecing. That is such a relaxing thing. If you haven't given it a try, I encourage you to do so. Feel free to share in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group if you do any of that. It's awesome seeing those little pieces grow to larger pieces. And again, it is taking one piece and another piece, and if the one's too short, you find a piece to make it a little longer, and once it's long enough to sew to the other piece, then you sew them together, and you just keep repeating and repeating that process. It is fun. And then we got some of these ready, so this will be good for, again, those leaders and enders. I haven't done it with finished pieces like this before, so I'm excited for that as well. So awesome, you guys. Thank you again for joining me here. Be sure to check out the bundle if you haven't yet. We'll be stitching that on the 19th. And so that'll be enough time for it to come in the mail. And have a fabulous weekend. I will see you guys again on Monday. Have a great evening. Good night.